Thank you, everybody, for coming. Just want to echo just a couple of things that Steve said. I found it really interesting, Steve, because I've never been on a LinkedIn training course. Nobody's ever taught me how to set up a LinkedIn profile or how to use it or how to promote myself on there. And a lot of what Steve said is actually what I do, just sort of naturally. So yeah, thank you for coming, everybody. First and foremost, it's a pleasure. I've travelled down from Durham this afternoon, and it's a pleasure to be here. A little bit of something there. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of a talk around my business and why I believe it is of the now, and it's perfectly timed in terms of capitalising on a space in society and an industry. And then there's a bit about sort of marketing and the power of storytelling. So. But I just want to start with this thing. This is a United Airlines aeroplane. In the 1980s, they were having major difficulties retaining customers and getting customers onto their airline, and they were really struggling with that. And what they did was they decided to have a complete analysis of their recruitment process. And what they did was they had a room similar to this and filled it full of candidates that had applied for the jobs, and they actually set up a camera. They invited each person up onto the stage and said, tell the audience why you would like the job. And can anybody guess sort of where the camera was pointing? Anybody?
At the audience.
At the audience. I'm pointing at the audience because what they wanted was real people that would encourage and that would support. And as you might gather from my voice, I'm quite nervous. So I've got my camera guy here, and he's looking at all of you guys and judging how nice and supportive you all are. So I just want to sort of tell you a bit about the journey, how I got into this shoe game. Around sort of 2012, I left local authority. I was working for Durham County Council in a marketing job, and I took voluntary redundancy with a pregnant wife in a brand new mortgage, and you might think that was kind of ludicrous. I left the job on the Friday, and on the Sunday I walked into a furniture shop, jobless, and it was a small independent company. And I managed to essentially blag myself a job. I said, I'll come in, I'll do your photography, and I'll write some blogs for your website and things like that. And he said, can you come in on Sunday actually? And I went, oh, yeah, no problem. So I went in the next Sunday, and while I was there, a guy called John Welsh walked in, and I ended up selling him a sofa. And I'd never sold a sofa in my life. Never sold a thing in my life, didn't know how to sell, didn't know what it was all about. It was just quite literally that I really loved this furniture, Chesterfield furniture, 19th century furniture. And it was this enthusiasm that you're hearing with my voice. It was this passion and this love of this product that ultimately this guy just went, yeah, I'll take one of them. And it just blew me away, and it really did just change my life, because I ended up, from that moment, being taken on full time with this guy to essentially be a salesman / marketing / everything. It was a small business, so you kind of get roped into everything. And it was a job I really loved. And one of the jobs that I was sort of doing was at the end of the evening, I would whiz around the workshop, pick up any scrap leather that was on the floor, chuck it in the bin just to help the lads out at the back who were actually doing all the upholstery. And I just started to think, like, why are we chucking all this leather in the bin? Like, there's offcuts that are like decent size, and there's millions of things that can be made out of leather that are much smaller than a sofa. So why don't we do something with it? The initial entrepreneur in me, if you like, literally started with bin bags full of leather on eBay, £20 a bag. I was selling 4 bags a week, so about £80 a week. So I was making quite a nice little pocket money on the weekend. Debbie doesn't know about this. Debbie's my account. A little bit of pocket money. And then I started to think, well, why are people buying it? And obviously they're buying it to make things out of. So I thought, what are they making? I thought belts, wallets, bags, things like that. So I learned how to make just a very basic little wallet, and I started to dye that like the guys were doing with these sofas in the back. and I started retailing them for about 40 quid. So all of a sudden I turned a £20 bag of leather into about a £100 bag of leather because I was getting about 3 wallets out of the strap leather. So then they were on eBay, and ultimately, obviously, then I started to make a bit more money. The guy who made the sofas started a rude decision of allowing me to do this, by the way. Then I started to think, well, why are we buying these sofas in the first place? What's that all about? Where did that come from? And it came from a lady who called the company before I worked there and asked if they could do a sofa like a pair of Baluti shoes. And if anybody's familiar with Baluti, they're about £2,500 for a starting price for a pair. And it was all about this patina, this colour with sort of burnt edges and this kind of little bit of flash of edginess through it and uniqueness, you know. And I started to think, you know, we were spending every day researching Baluti to create new sofas, so obviously I was in love with them. And I started to think, well, I've got the leather and I know how to dye, so if I could find somebody who could craft the shoes for me, then ultimately I could dye them and then sell this bag of leather for maybe 100 quid or 150 quid. And that's where the idea processed. So this was the very first pair of shoes that I ever had produced with twine laces, because I just literally used anything that was lying in the workshop. I dyed them, wore them for a little while, and essentially the bug was in me now, and I knew that I want to be my own boss. I want to be an entrepreneur. So I went back to the company that made these shoes for me, and I said, right, listen, how much are they going to cost? And they said, well, it'll be about £330 plus VAT per pair, which was ludicrous, because now I thought, well, why would you buy mine when you just buy a Baluti because I'll have to retail them for £1,000 or somewhere like that figure. So it was quite difficult. And of course I didn't have anything. I didn't have a title of a business or anything, so I had to start creating a brand. Didn't have any money, so everything you see was just done by my own skills and what I can do myself. So creating a logo. I needed to know if people liked it. So I started to go out onto strange places and just literally dye shoes, almost like a busker, and just see if people would come up and were they interested in it, was it fascinating. So I call it my market research. I needed a website, photography, social media, all of that stuff. So I built my website, all the photography between me and a couple of pals, we did all of that. And obviously I set up a Facebook page and most importantly, obviously a LinkedIn page. LinkedIn. Without LinkedIn, I wouldn't be stood here now. LinkedIn is responsible over this last year probably for about 90% of my sales. On April 2017, I had 124 connections / followers. In less than 18 months, I've got 10,600, when I checked today, 10,663. So it's grown considerably. And how I did that was rather like what Steve said. I built the brand around me. So yes, you can find me on LinkedIn and it'll say Simon Bourne / the hand-dyed shoe company. It's all about Simon Bourne. It doesn't matter really about the hand-dyed shoe company. People don't really care. But what I share is all of this stuff. So my beliefs, my values, my opinions, strong sometimes, my experience, my history, my ambitions, my failures, my successes, my family, my feelings, my reasons, and my emotions. I tell everybody, there's no secrets, I put it out there and I just share it. And the reason I do that is many different reasons really, but this is the big one. I understand that people buy from people. And everybody's heard that phrase before. Any sales trainer has said that before. People buy from people. People buy from people. Excuse me. And one of the, I'm going to show you this great video now of a company that I think really captured this really, really well. This whole people buy from people thing. Because 80% of decisions are based on emotion. Nobody's bought a Ferrari because they needed one. So, people selling to people done well.
In the early 1980s, a child was born. 2 of them, actually. Their names were Jeff and Andy, and inside these young men was what would become something great. Time went by, Jeff and Andy grew up, and they develop facial hair.
I grew my first mustache when I was 11, probably like 13. Why?
And one day, while buying razors, something happened. Andy got ripped off.
Getting ripped off sucks. Why do razors cost so much? Like, there's no real good reason.
Actually, Jeff, there is a reason. One big razor company has relentlessly increased prices for decades, making insane profits at the expense of customers. So Jeff and Andy decided to start their own shaving company. Jeff and Andy's parents were proud.
Do we conceive Andy to take on Big Razor in an epic battle with David versus Goliath? Oh, hell yes.
Jeff and Andy take their destiny seriously, because there's a big difference between good and bad razors.
That's particularly true when you're taking like a knife to your face.
And we almost put a bullet in the idea 6 months in because we're like, we just don't know if we can actually make the products.
It left Jeff and Andy with only one way to maintain quality and keep prices down.
We bought a factory.
They bought a factory, but not just any factory.
They bought my factory.
They bought Fine Technic, the 95-year-old German factory.
It's pretty loud!
Where over 600 German engineers, craftsmen, and production workers create millions of precision blades a year.
And they thought we were completely crazy. They called us the American Internet Cowboys.
Now I'm calling them friends.
You're a good hugger, Mr. Becker.
With the purchase of Fine Technic, the American Internet Cowboys discovered a way to create razors of exceptional quality without the questionable design of their competitors.
We essentially wanted to do the exact opposite of what was out there. Less but better. Theirs looks like it was shot out of space. We want something that looks like it was made on Earth.
And by taking less profit and selling directly to you over the internet, Harry's can offer an exceptional deal. At half the blade price, and with all those smart people, and that factory stuff, and those sharp razors, and the handsome handles, and a smooth narrator. Thanks. Big Razor got nervous.
They threatened to sue our pants off.
Big Razor threatened to sue their pants off. And that's kind of the whole point of this film. Jeff and Andy are two guys who put their pants on one leg at a time, just like you. Who need to shave, just like you. Who don't want to pay too much and like good design, like you. But don't take it from us. Take it from a few of our 2,700,009 clean-shaven customers.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Andy, and this is Harris.
Meet the shaving company that's fixing shaving. Harris.
I just love this. I think the brand is so clever, and you know, there's so much stuff going on in there with emotion. So you've got humour, you've got mum and dad who love their son, you've got them as young boys kind of growing up into this thing. You've got go on Jeff and Andy, buy that factory, go on. Like, you feel like you're supporting them and giving them a push and giving them a nudge. And I just feel like it's a great thing, and it makes me, when I watch it, I'm like, I want to buy a razor and I don't even shave. So like, you know, I'm a big fan of a company that I can't actually use if I want to maintain this image. So, but I just think it's great, the humour in it, the, you know, lots of things like using things like what was it when they said about being ripped off and things like that. That triggers your emotions. Like, oh, yeah, I don't really ripped off. I don't, you know. So it's just clever, really clever, and yeah, it's a brand that I'm a big fan of how they do things. So why does emotion sell so well? I think that there's a huge shift in society and the way that people think these days. 10 years ago, if you saw a dude walking down the street with a dress on, you'd say, oh, look at that weirdo over there, you know, people see it. Whereas now, all of a sudden, you've got this kind of collection of people saying, go on, son, go on, son. I think that, like, the rise in LGBT and massive companies wanting to get involved with LGBT is this celebration of difference and acceptance and choice, and I think that is huge, and I think that is why the LGBT organisation is growing so quickly and becoming so accepted, and it's obviously fantastic. I think that this thing, social media, and obviously LinkedIn is my big thing, but social media, we all have these little mini egos going on, and we all want to say where I've been on holiday and what I've eaten for my tea and why my life is so fantastic, and that's what we're doing. So why my life is different from yours, and why I have something that you can't have, and that's why you know, where my shoes come in. I think when you look at brands like House of Fraser and New Look, in my opinion, why they're struggling is because bog standard retail, it doesn't do anything anymore. It's just, you know, walk in. It's not convenient for me to drive in my car, to go park, to pop into New Look, to buy a new dress, It's just, we are all looking for convenience when it comes to shopping. So we go online. So brand alone will not win your customers, in my opinion. Your customers need a reason to come to you, and whether that's insurance, whether that's shoes, whether that's selling paper, you need a reason. Why would I buy it from you? So I call it convenience plus. So can you have some convenience? So a great website that does everything that you want it to do, some great social media, some great marketing and everything like that, but then something else. So like a person, or in my business, it's all about the come and visit us and the service where it's second to none, and you can't get that kind of service anywhere else. So convenience plus. So that just kind of brings me on to what is my reason. You'll all remember this. This was me probably about 10 years ago, somewhere around there. And the person you're looking at was somebody who was quite lost, quite mixed up and confused with the world, and it's hard for me to look at that because of where I was at that time. It was dyeing my hair blue, the clothes that I would wear. I was struggling with sort of an identity, if you like. I knew I was different. I knew I was alternative to everybody else, but I didn't feel like I had a place. Didn't feel like I fitted in, because I would dress like this to get noticed and to have fun, but then everybody would judge you. Everybody would look at me and go, well, he's a bit weird, he's gay, he's whatever, and things like that. And I just didn't like myself. I felt completely trapped in my own skin. So why my business helps that, and this is my why, is I never felt truly accepted, and I always felt quite judged by people. But my business celebrates my individuality. People on LinkedIn want to be following me because I am different and because I am alternative, and therefore I feel more comfortable and I feel almost accepted. I find life difficult and I do suffer with anxiety, and I put a video out last week which kind of highlighted that, and I'm not afraid to talk about it. I dare say there's probably more than half of this room that suffer with something: depression, stress, anxiety, bipolar, Asperger's, whatever it is, right? And I think it's so important that people talk about it, so here I am saying that I suffer with it. But my business allows me the time to recover, so if I don't have to go to work tomorrow, I've got that choice just to say, all right, I'm just going to work from home. If that phone rings and I don't feel comfortable answering it, and there's people in this room that understand that, I don't answer it, and I just have this little break, so it allows me the time just to recover. I know what anxiety is, I know I'm going to be fine, but it gives me that time. I feel like letting anybody down, in particular customers, so anybody who comes to me to buy my product, like you are like my brother or my sister. Like, I'm going to look after you right till the very end until you've got those shoes, and I'm going to over deliver on everything that I do. And for 1 second, if I think I've upset you or let you down, like the book stops for me. I set the standards, so Amber, who works for me, she understands that like that is my philosophy and my value, is that I'm going to look after people. Pardon me. I love to be creative, and I like to lead. I think I am a leader. I feel like there's a billion ways within owning your own business that I can express myself and express those creative urges. So through marketing, through website, through logo design, through a sales process, through product, through design, through accountancy, all sorts of different ways where I can express the way that I like to be. And I have a voice, a bloody loud voice with 10,500 followers, that enables me, which means that I can spread my personal values, which have become my business's values. So everything I've just said there about wanting to look after people, because it makes me feel stressed if I can't look after you. I can spread that message. So going back to this, how I've done that is exactly through that. So I would tell everybody in this room my deepest, darkest secrets. I really would, and that's because I am a true heart and sleeve person, and I'm so passionate about just being myself and just being okay and living in my own skin because of that fear of that time when I wasn't comfortable and I was frightened and often quite ill. The anxiety really was much worse than it ever is now. And I see all of this and I put it out there, and this is what it's really like to be Simon Bourne, and this is what it's like to be an entrepreneur and to run a business and to employ people and to hopefully inspire people, and everything that I ever do, particularly if it's what could be perceived as a negative, I always follow it with a positive. So I say, if I suffer with anxiety, tomorrow means that I've got to get up, and if I get up, that means I've got up. So therefore, I'm better, and I'm on my way to stardom again and back to this normal, passionate, energetic, enthusiastic, nutty self. So how did I make it happen? I'm going to just kind of go back, share this with you. And this is essentially, hopefully, just a bit of me and my story. But that's what I'm aiming for. Thank you very much.